On today's episode of WatchJRGo, we are here in the new garage at the new house where Grandpa's F-100 has been sitting for a while. And it's been sitting here because it broke. What is going on, guys? I'm WatchJRGo, and today, like I said, we are in the garage at the new house with Grandpa's 65 Ford F-100, and I mentioned it in a couple other videos, especially the fleet update, but basically, I tried to start this thing for Cars and Coffee, and it stopped starting. So it started, it ran for, I don't know, maybe 2 whole minutes or something, died, started it right back up, it ran again, and it ran for, I don't know, 30 seconds that time, died, started it back up, and it ran for like 1 second and died, and since then it has never started again, unfortunately. So we have to do some troubleshooting. Now, there's some pretty obvious things right out of the gate there. It probably has spark. And it probably has everything. It probably has fuel, it probably has spark. I really don't know what could have happened here to cause this thing to stop starting, because it's been so reliable after we put it on fuel injection. Not only has it been so reliable, it's been 1,000 times better truck because previously it was on like a Motorcraft single barrel, 2-barrel carburetor. I forget what size it was, but it was anemic, so small, and it just couldn't get enough fuel and air into this the big block in this thing, and it just didn't make that much power. And of course, you had all the carburetor drawbacks, like it didn't love to hot start, it didn't love to cold start, it didn't love to start in general. But here we are again, a while later, having those same problems. The carburetor was way worse though, because obviously the only fix on anything with that is tear it down, clean it all up, and put it back together. This, hopefully we can get some quick answers. Another thing, when that thing cold started, it would have to warm up for like 3 or 4 minutes before you could actually drive the truck, and now you turn the key and it's usually ready to rock instantly. So let's turn the key and see where we're at today. All right, so if we turn the key on, obviously the battery's on a battery tender. You guys probably saw that from the first shot there. We should hear the fuel pump and see the Holly start up. Sure sounds like a fuel pump to me. And let's see, I think we can even see fuel pressure. Vitals, there's fan, -1. Well, obviously it's very cold, 65 degrees Fahrenheit right now. Map at 97 kilopascals. I need to see if that sounds about right for 1 atmosphere, if that matches a single bar, or if we've got an issue with the map sensor, which is possible. Ignition timing is what we have it set to. And manifold air temp is very cold because it is very cold out. And IX at 80, that's kind of interesting. Well, let's crank this thing and see what we can come up with. I don't see fuel pressure. I'm pretty sure it knows the fuel pressure. Lots of IO on the Sniper, but I'm not seeing fuel pressure. The one thing we do have in here that's possibly good for troubleshooting is fuel flow per hour. It was up here towards the top somewhere, but I don't even see that at the moment, so maybe it doesn't know fuel pressure. A few more pieces of the puzzle. Obviously, we've got a Holley Sniper, we have the Sniper distributor, and we have the Sniper ignition module, which, you know, it's possible that some of my wiring broke or something like that. I tried to make sure this stuff was never coming apart, but there's a chance that maybe a wire came out that goes to that ignition module or something like that, and now we're not firing the spark plugs, so we'll test that here in a second. But first, let's see if we even have signal into the Holley from the distributor, because that's how this thing gets its timing. So we'll just go from there. Nothing. Well, here's something interesting. I was like, let me see what I did with that fuel pump. And it's pretty obvious what I did with the fuel pump. You can see all those nice new bolts right there and right there. So in one of those positions is the fuel pump, and look at the frame rail. Why is it all wet right there around the fuel pump? It looks like it's soaking wet. That's something I haven't seen before. So I didn't see a puddle under it or anything, but what if that fuel pump died inside? Let's get in here, crack the fuel line up at the Sniper, and see if it's even getting fuel. So first things first, let's get the air cleaner off here. Everyone's favorite thing to do. You gotta just think about all the horsepower we could have if I flip this bad boy over one time. Okay, so our fuel line from the fuel pump is right here. It's got this blue wire zip tied to it, which is very nice. I love how we actually ran the wire to the fuel pump. And then right here is our AN connection that supplies fuel to the Sniper. So it's kind of looking like maybe we just crack that line right there and see if fuel sprays out. I'll put a rag around it too so we don't get everything in here covered. But if it doesn't, well, I think we found our culprit in just seconds, because we probably have ignition. So while we're doing that, I'm gonna get the ignition tester too, and we'll just test it all at once. We can hit it all in one fell swoop, and we'll find out if we've got bigger problems or if we just need to jump in there and change out a fuel pump. I hope it's the easy one. I hope it's the fuel pump, honestly. All right, I'm back with two of my favorite tools. Obviously, this is everybody's favorite tool. It's the Performance Tool Ignition Tester from O'Reilly's. You just plug this thing in line, and if you get spark in the chamber there, you have spark. It's so easy to test spark. My favorite way to do it, honestly, just pull off any of these plug wires. Come on. Wow, these MSD wires stick very well. Wow. Man, that was no joke. Okay, so we got a nice click right there. Ready to test some sparking. I don't know if that went on the plug, but we'll put that guy right there. Hey, there it did. Went on the plug. All right, so first let's try to crank and see if we get some spark. All right, here we go. Ooh, interesting. Sounded like there was pressure. Well, we definitely have spark. Plenty of great spark right there. So it is not anything to do with all of the wiring, because there's a lot involved, right? With that coil driver and the Snipers, I forgot what you call that thing. It's got a really cool name, Hyperspark. Has nothing to do with any of that, because we definitely had a lot of spark. We had so much spark, it was jumping out of the tester and hitting the valve cover along with the spark plug. So we're good there. Now let's find out if we got fuel, or if we're putting a fuel pump in this thing, or if we're changing something else. All right. Come on, spark plug wires. Round two, we got the ICT billet 6AN wrench. I love these wrenches. They have them in like every size for AN, and it keeps you from marring your fittings. So that's a big deal when you're trying to put stuff together that stays pretty like this. Ooh, listen to that. As soon as I crack the fitting, why does it just sound like a ton of air? There's zero gas. What is happening here? Wow, okay, so I'm gonna put a rag around that and we'll just prime it real quick and see what happens there. Okay, so we've got our gas deflection rag here, and we got that fitting loosened up, so let's go ahead and just bump the key and see what happens. Go for it. Ooh, nothing's coming out. Here, I'm gonna back it off some more and go again. Go ahead and let it prime all the way to the end, just in case. Go again. That's not good at all. We have go ahead and do it again. Any day now, I'd love to see more than 2 drips of gasoline. I think this pump is finished. Well, let's hook it back up and go under the truck. All right, guys, so here is where our tank, our return from the regulator, and our supply from the tank are. And you can see we grommeted all this and brought it through the frame. And then over here on the other side, you can see we've got a fuel filter pre-pump and then a big 0.5 micron or whatever, the fine particle filter after the pump. And then after that, we have a regulator. And for some reason, the whole frame here is soaking wet, like something blew apart. I can't tell what, but it definitely looks like something in here broke. You can see the wetness starts right there and goes all the way to the front. And that has nothing to do with that slow transmission leak. It looks like it diluted the transmission fluid and covered the entire floor, which is crazy. So now I'm gonna try to find our problem. Obviously we can hear the fuel pump, it sounds wonderful. I'm gonna go ahead and pull off that Phillips screw right there that's holding on that new fuel line. We'll turn on the pump and see if fuel starts spraying out. And if so, we know we're good at the pump, and it's something, either the regulator or this filter is clogged up, and or it could even be the filter before the pump. It could be any of those. So let's figure out what's going on. Back to the work hoodie. Can't have on the nice hoodie while you're under the car playing in transmission fluid and fuel. So now we're styling again. Just got this thing out of the washer, so I'm gonna ruin it as soon as we get it clean. Don't worry about this hoodie, guys. It's been through it all. This is the work hoodie for real. It has holes from wrecking. I don't know, from either welding with it or skating with it. I destroyed this hoodie, but it's still hanging on, and it sure is thick. Fuel line's off. Bump the key for me. Just for 1 second. Ooh, nothing. That's not a good sign. I grabbed an extra piece of fuel hose. We've got it hooked up to the output of the fuel pump here. And obviously, my thought was, let's blow some air backwards, because I'm really starting to think the pickup's clogged up. Brand new tank, brand new everything, the socks new, the cinder's new, the returns new, every single part of this is new. But we're not getting a thing out of this. So let's prime it. Nothing. You can hear the pump load up, but it's not getting any liquid. So now we're gonna move on to the pickup itself. I'm gonna pull off of this line where it comes out of the tank at the back of the truck and see if any fuel just dumps out of it, which would be ideal. And if not, we'll blow some air backwards. And if not, it's the filter before the pump. You guys think that's possible? You think that filter is clogged solid on a brand new tank? I don't think so, but we're gonna find out. Try number 2. Now we are hooked directly up to this metal line that goes into the gas tank. So if we don't hear air bubbles in the gas tank, we've got a big problem, and I gotta pull the cinder out. So let's go get in here real close like so we can hear together. Seems like it should be no problem to get gas out of there. I don't want to suck on it. That sounds sketchy. Just a thought. Do you guys think blowing air back through that line cleans something out and it starts working? I don't think. I don't think we have fuel. All right, let's keep going. Time to go to the pre-filter. All right, round 2. The pre-filter is out of the equation now. Now, our tank pickup runs into this hose that's on the floor and all the way into the fuel pump. Will we get it? It's alive again! Fuel filter delete! Oh, I can feel the fuel! Well, it's just this little Wix filter in there somehow quit completely. I don't know what happened, but it must have clogged up. I'm gonna sit here and keep watching to see if our hose blows off. That's what I'm worried about, is losing that hose there. Even though it's under vacuum, not under pressure, but this thing's struggling. Now she's coming back to life. It's been months. It's really been a long time since it's ran. So it's been months since it broke on the way to Cars and Coffee. It's been longer since I've driven it, probably 3 months before that. So it did sit for quite a while. But at least now we know it was a little tiny crimped together fuel filter. The front fuel filter's still in there, so it's running through that one right now. Old Sniper's doing wonderful. I'd love to change this to a Sniper 2 because there's a bunch of updates that don't require that coil driver anymore on the new Hyperspar. Everything is built into the new Snipers, and I was almost hoping that it was broken so we could go to the new one, but I guess I'm stuck with old reliable here. It just keeps on running as long as you keep gas in it. So I'm super surprised though. I did not think it was just starving for fuel. Oh well, let's put it all back together and maybe I can take it off the trickle charger and take it out for a drive. Not today, it's the middle of that world-ending storm outside right now, so we're not driving it today. And we are wrapped up on Grandpa's truck. It was easier than any of us ever imagined. Whew! I sure am happy about that. She's warming up, good deal. Well, I wish I could take it out for a drive today, but Grandpa's truck's back on the road with one of the craziest failures I've ever seen. I mean, fuel filters fail, but I've never seen one just stop allowing any fuel through the pump at all. So that was pretty wild, because it was, you could tell it was pulling a vacuum, and the fuel pump was trying everything it could to pump that pressure up, but had nothing it could do. So that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop WatchJRGo.com for cool shirts, not like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. Well, that was fun. I gotta make an O'Reilly's run. I'm sure they're closed right now because end of the world storm. But we'll put all this back together with a fresh fuel filter, hopefully have this thing right back on the road. And then one of these days soon, we gotta reseal that transmission because it just keeps leaking. And you know, every time it leaks, I put more transmission fluid in and the cycle perpetuates. So someday I have to fix that transmission seal. But until then, we'll just keep putting absorbent mats under it because the truck runs and drives so well until random things happen to it, like fuel filters. So $5 for a fuel filter and it's back on the road. Who knew? All right. I had a Gates hose that I keep in the back of my truck for emergencies, and guess what? It did exactly what it was supposed to do. It saved us in an emergency. Not really an emergency though. But I gotta go clean all this off my hands because the sun hurts those hoses.